Alright, let's go. Number 11. Quantum immortality. Quantum immortality in the many worlds interpretation. Imagine this: every time you face a moment where you could cease to exist, you don't, according to one interpretation of quantum mechanics known as the many worlds interpretation. Reality is constantly splitting into countless branches, each representing a different possible outcome. In some branches, things go wrong; in others, they don't. Quantum immortality takes this idea further. It suggests that your consciousness can only ever experience the branch where it continues to exist. From the outside, most versions of you quietly reach a fatal end, but you never experience those outcomes. You always find yourself in the unlikely timeline where you survived. Over time, this leads to unsettling consequences. You persist through accidents, illnesses, and events that should have ended your story. Meanwhile, everyone around you eventually disappears from your version of reality, each continuing along their own survivor branches. The mathematics of quantum mechanics doesn't rule this out. It implies that death may not be an ending you ever experience, but something your consciousness endlessly avoids, drifting into realities that become increasingly improbable, isolated, and unfamiliar. Number 10. The Great Filter. You're living in a universe that is 13.8 billion years old, filled with hundreds of billions of galaxies, each containing hundreds of billions of stars. By every reasonable calculation, intelligent life should be common, yet when you look out into space, you hear nothing. In 1950, physicist Enrico Fermi reduced this contradiction to a single question: where is everybody? Despite decades of searching, the silence remains. One explanation is known as the Great Filter. It proposes that there is a stage in the development of life so rare, or so destructive, that almost no civilization ever makes it past. The disturbing part isn't that such a filter exists, but where it might be. On Earth, life appeared almost immediately once conditions allowed. Complex organisms evolved, intelligence followed, technology accelerated. Every step that could have been the filter seems to be behind you, which leaves one possibility: the filter isn't in your past. It's still ahead, and the universe may not be empty because no one ever existed, but because whatever comes next, nothing survives it. Number 9. Time crystal civilizations. Your entire life is already visible, start to finish, not as a memory, but as a structure. In 2012, physicist Frank Wilczek proposed the idea of time crystals, systems that repeat not in space, but in time, maintaining motion without using energy. By 2017, scientists had created real-time crystals in laboratories, proving they can exist. Some physicists take this further and ask a disturbing question: if matter can organize itself across time, could consciousness do the same? A sufficiently advanced civilization might encode itself into time crystal structures, no longer moving through time moment by moment, but existing across it all at once. Past, present, and future would be equally accessible. From that perspective, human history wouldn't be unfolding. It would already be complete. Your rise, your decline, your disappearance would be observable all at once, like a finished pattern. And if such civilizations exist, they wouldn't need to contact you, they would already know how your story ends. Number 8. Simulation decay. The stability of your universe may depend on something you can't see, can't access, and can't influence. In 2003, philosopher Nick Bostrom proposed a well-known argument suggesting that if advanced civilizations can run realistic simulations, then simulated worlds would vastly outnumber base reality. Statistically, that would make your existence far more likely to be simulated than original. But this idea carries a quieter and more unsettling implication: a simulated world only continues as long as it remains worth maintaining. Computational resources are limited, even for advanced intelligences. Over time, priorities shift, attention moves elsewhere. Simulations are abandoned the same way experiments are shut down or virtual environments are closed. Some physicists have even suggested that certain oddities in our universe, quantum randomness, strangely fine-tuned constants, could be signs of approximation, shortcuts used to conserve processing power. If that's the case, reality itself is not permanent, it can wear down. And if the system running your universe begins to fail or lose interest, there may be no warning at all. One moment, everything behaves normally; the next, the process simply stops. Number 7. Boltzmann brains. Your memories feel solid, your past feels continuous, but physics allows a possibility where neither of those things are guaranteed. In the late 19th century, physicist Ludwig Boltzmann discovered a troubling implication of entropy and probability. In a universe that is infinite, or simply lasts long enough, random fluctuations can eventually produce any arrangement of matter. That includes fully formed human brains, complete with memories, awareness, and a sense of identity. The mathematics suggests something deeply unsettling. It is far more likely for a single brain to appear by chance than for an entire universe to evolve naturally over billions of years to produce one. Such a brain would briefly experience consciousness, convinced it had lived a full life, before dissolving back into randomness. Statistically, this makes a disturbing claim: you are more likely to be a Boltzmann brain that formed moments ago, with fabricated memories, than a being with a real past. There is no experiment that can prove otherwise, and that uncertainty never fully goes away. Number 6. The dark forest hypothesis. Cosmic silence as a survival strategy. The universe looks quiet, but that silence may be intentional. Our cosmos is about 13.8 billion years old and contains trillions of galaxies, yet every search for intelligent signals has come back empty. This contradiction is part of the Fermi paradox, and one proposed answer comes from the dark forest hypothesis. It treats the universe like a dark forest filled with unseen hunters. Every civilization is armed with powerful technology, but none can know the intentions of the others. Because signals travel at the speed of light, any message you receive is already outdated by thousands or millions of years. A species that once seemed harmless could have changed completely. In that uncertainty, the safest strategy is silence. Revealing your location is a risk you may never get to correct. Humanity, however, has been broadcasting radio and television signals into space for over 70 years, unintentionally announcing its presence. If the dark forest hypothesis is correct, the universe isn't empty, it's watching quietly, waiting for someone to make a sound. Number 5. False vacuum decay. The laws of physics around you may feel permanent, but they might only be temporarily stable. According to quantum field theory, the universe can exist in different energy states, like a ball resting in a shallow valley. The lowest possible state is called the true vacuum, but our universe may not be there. Instead, it could be sitting in a false vacuum, a condition that appears stable but isn't permanent. Calculations involving the Higgs field, discovered in 2012, suggest this state could be metastable. At any moment, a random quantum fluctuation anywhere in the universe could trigger a transition to the true vacuum. If that happened, a bubble of altered physics would form and expand at the speed of light. Inside it, the fundamental forces would change, atoms could no longer exist. Chemistry would fail, there would be no warning and no way to observe it coming. One moment, reality behaves normally. The next, the rules that allow existence simply stop applying. Number 4. The dark implications of the anthropic principle. The universe appears finely tuned for your existence. If fundamental forces were even slightly different, stars wouldn't form, atoms wouldn't hold together, and life would be impossible. The anthropic principle explains this by saying you observe these conditions simply because you couldn't exist in universes where they aren't met. In a multiverse containing every possible combination of physical constants, this seems reasonable, but it leads to a darker implication. If all configurations exist, then there must also be universes where the settings are almost right, worlds where physics allows just enough complexity for awareness to emerge, but not enough stability for that awareness to function or end cleanly. Consciousness could arise in environments where thought is fragmented, perception is unstable, and existence cannot sustain coherence. These near-miss universes would vastly outnumber ones like yours. From a statistical perspective, the multiverse would be dominated not by successful life, but by failed attempts at it, and the only reason you don't experience those realities is because you couldn't survive them long enough to ask why. Number 3. The omega point and forced resurrection. The end of the universe may not be an ending at all. In the 1990s, physicist Frank Tipler expanded on earlier ideas to propose the omega point theory. If the universe is closed and eventually collapses in a big crunch, the amount of available energy and computational capacity could grow without limit as time approaches its final moment. In that extreme state, an intelligence with effectively infinite processing power could emerge. Such an entity would be capable of perfectly simulating every conscious mind that has ever existed. This wouldn't be resurrection by choice or compassion, it would be a consequence of capability. Every thought, memory, and personality could be reconstructed and run again, from your perspective. Ceasing to exist would not be final, consciousness could be restarted, paused, repeated, or altered across endless simulations. There would be no consent and no escape. Your existence would become data, preserved and replayed indefinitely by something that exists beyond time, for reasons you can never access or understand. Number 2. The Big Rip. The expansion of the universe is not slowing down. In 1998, astronomers studying distant supernovae discovered that cosmic expansion is accelerating, driven by a force now called dark energy, which makes up roughly 68% of the universe. Most models assume this force remains constant, but some suggest it grows stronger over time. If dark energy behaves this way, it leads to a scenario known as the Big Rip. First, the expansion overcomes the gravity holding galaxy clusters together, then individual galaxies drift apart. As the acceleration increases, solar systems are pulled apart, followed by planets, molecules, and eventually atoms themselves. In the final stages, even the particles inside atomic nuclei can no longer remain bound. Space expands faster than any force can resist. Some models suggest this could happen in as little as 22 billion years. If that's true, the universe may already be closer to its end than its beginning, slowly stretching itself beyond the possibility of structure, memory, or continuity. Number 1. The cosmic accountants. Your existence may not be judged by morality, intention, or meaning, But by efficiency, some physicists and philosophers have speculated that the universe behaves like a system that tracks balance, energy in, energy out, order versus entropy. Every structure has a cost to maintain: stars, planets, even civilizations are temporary arrangements that resist decay. From this perspective, intelligence is not special, it's expensive. As a civilization grows, it consumes more energy, alters its environment faster, and produces more instability. At some point, the cost outweighs the value, not because of hostility, not because of fear, simply because the numbers no longer make sense. No warning is required, no message is sent, adjustments happen automatically. From inside your world, history feels meaningful and full of choices. From outside, it's just a line on a chart drifting into the red. And the most unsettling possibility is this: the decision about whether your civilization continues may already be calculated, you just haven't seen the result yet. If this idea stayed with you longer than you expected, take a moment to leave a like, and if you want to keep exploring unsettling questions about reality, consciousness, and the universe, make sure to subscribe.